let's just jump right into the one we watched. Was that last night, the All-Star game for the W?
It was. We did play the WNBA All-Star game. They did the draft selection last week. They traded coaches because for some reason they gave the Lynx coach to Caitlin Clark and the Liberty coach to Collier, who plays for that. And they're like, don't know if it's allowed, but we're trading. You can have your coach. I'll take whoever.
Yeah, funny setup there. A little bit of a bummer for the league in terms of no Caitlin Clark playing in the game.
Yeah, she did get hurt. She pulled her groin earlier in the week. I do believe she pulled it Wednesday, like right before, is kind of early on in the game that the Fever were taking part of. She was clearly upset. Of course, the All-Star weekend was happening in Indianapolis, which is kind of...
It was all kind of set up to be a nice little showcase for her to be the host and whatnot.
Yeah, and unfortunately, she did not get to participate, but she did get to take part in some of the pictures, and she still
participated like as much as she physically was allowed to, but yeah, it was
there was a cool
sideline position.
Yeah, there was a cool media moment where they had Sabrina sitting down, and she was like, well, this is weird, like this isn't really my team. So she and Caitlin Clark switched, and they gave Caitlin Clark, who's the captain of the team, the ball, and they took a picture, which I thought was super cool of Sabrina to do as well. So
yeah, I mean, all in all, it looked like a lot of fun, especially for the vets, who really made a point in several interviews to be like, we're kind of just enjoying being here in the company of like the best the league has ever looked, and it was like, I mean, still not a like high effort game in terms of like the actual competitive nature of the showdown on the court, but all in all, it looked like, a good fun weekend.
It was. The players, especially this weekend and throughout the season, have been on a very united front. We've kind of seen them get united even throughout before the season started, like in the Unrivaled League and stuff like that. Like before the All-Star game, every single one of the players came out with basically a "Pay Us What You Owe Us" shirt, which was, I'm sure, a shock to the WNBA. But all the players agreed to wear them, which is a kind of a crazy. I've only ever seen this happen one other time, and that was when the Fab Five did it in Michigan, because everyone was complaining about the things that they were doing. Most of those people ended up being right in hindsight, because they were taking money and whatnot and a bunch of other things. But yeah, this one was a cool, different story.
Definitely a solid sign of solidarity amongst the players as a whole, as a bargaining unit in their negotiations, where they've made it pretty clear they're looking for pay increases across the board, like at all tiers, and revenue. They want a slice of that pie from someone. One of that 42, and 10? 16. One of us can do the math.
Yeah, it's me. I'm the math guy. Yeah, they apparently earlier on they did have a meeting. I think earlier during the week when they were on sort of the break before. I think they even headed out to Indianapolis, and from what everyone was saying is they had to bring more chairs into the room. I think 40 different players throughout the league showed up to basically this meeting that Stewie is head of basically what would be the WNBA PA essentially, and she's sort of leading the negotiation in charge, and the president of the WNBA has seemed to be receptive and wants to give them what they sort of basically desire. I'll be interested to see if it works out, like we sort of talked about last week. Somebody is taking a cut. I don't know who's.
It's got to come from somewhere.
There's an obvious cut that I would make personally as the WNBA, but we'll see what they do. I mean, the obvious cut I would make is I would cut out the NBA. They are doing great things for the sport, but I don't think they should get a piece of my pie for what's
certainly
happening.
Not. I mean, you can certainly cut out it's not going to be anything close to the 50-50 or anything that we see in the other sports, but I can imagine a settlement of like 5 or 10 rank, like percent range or something.
Like we talked about last week, right now, unless the league grows, they're getting a grand total of a whopping 0. So anything more than that, I think, is progress, and I think it's a little bit groundbreaking, because those percentages are not easy to come by, and no one wants to give them up. So it's going to be as easy as the president wants to make it. It's not going to go as easy. I think everyone hopes it is.
Absolutely, and the counter to that is reports I'm seeing recently are that despite all of this new growth and advertisement and eyes on the league, they are still running at a deficit, losing about like 40 million a year or something.
So that is true, and I've seen the everyone's like, well, why do you want a piece of this thing that's already losing? We have to remember where the sport was when the initial the last CBA happened, and where we are today. Like, thinking about the organization of the league, they don't really have a big TV deal. The next TV deal that they're about to get is we're talking about the billions of dollars versus the hundreds of millions of dollars. And the example I gave to you earlier in the week, which just so happens to fit here, is like, if you're looking at it from just a numbers perspective, we look at just even in seconds, 1 million seconds is really only about 13 days, where 1 billion seconds is 30 some years, basically 32 years.
Yeah.
That grand scale of things is a big difference, and we'll cut into sort of this league is not making money to this is a very profitable league, especially with the few amount of teams that they're playing. There's not a whole lot of players and teams. There are more coming on, and there's a big struggle right now because there's so much WNBA talent around that you're having to cut players and wave players.
We just announced a huge wave of expansion over the next 5 years up to 2030. Yep. So we know that they intend to be growing, and it only makes sense. Like I saw a take about the owner for like the Fever, who is also the owner for the Pacers.
Correct. He does share those.
Yeah. And about how it seems like a slam dunk business move to invest more in that team, considering your number one like player, face of the franchise or face of the league for the most part right now, is making $80,000 a year on her NBA or her W contract.
The contracts are ridiculous. They are still,
and like we talk about how bad hockey is compared to everyone else. That's peanuts.
It's miserable, and which is why a lot of players were having to go overseas. They have to go play in the Unrivaled and other leagues to make revenue. Luckily enough for some of them, if they are the very few special talents, so I'm talking about the Caitlin Clarks, the Aja Wilsons, they get a multi-million-dollar deal with some sort of brand or a couple of those to make up basically like a celebrity and athlete salary that we would expect.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say from a business aspect is I cannot see the women basketball trends stopping really anytime soon. Not even here in America, but I'm just talking about worldwide. Mm-hmm. Worldwide basketball is growing just rapidly everywhere. Like, we're seeing a huge influx of French players coming into both the W and the NBA. We know about all the people in Canada that are playing. Jamal Murray, one of our hometown heroes. Shai, who's the MVP of the league, is from Canada. The other European countries, we know Jokic is out there in Serbia.
Your Serbias, your Latvias,
Lithuanias, all these European countries where if you don't have to go play soccer anymore for a lot of these countries, especially if you're a 6 foot tall, 7 foot tall giant, it doesn't really work out all the time.
And they don't play American football.
They don't play American football. And so there's really only the avenue to go down is you're going to go play volleyball, which is not, I'm surprised volleyball
it has
not
its niches
as big as it probably could be. Or you can go play basketball where there's a very good track of revenue for a bunch of different sports. Even one of the All-Stars this weekend, Gabby Williams, who we should know and hear this name from back during the summertime, last summer when we did the Olympics. She was a huge player on the French side and is making waves in the WNBA enough so that she made an appearance here in the All-Star weekend.
Was Citron French in the W? She was like
I don't know. It's a good question. I know she's from Notre Dame, but I think she is. If I had to guess, I would assume she's American.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't imagine I can't imagine a foreigner going out there to the Notre Dame college. That's a tough transition.
Yeah, that would be a little bit. No, just the name seemed French to me.
Citron. Yep.
Has that ring to it.
Yeah.
But all that being said around the bargaining agreement and all that, the game itself had some fun all-star wrinkles to it, including one of my favorite proposed rule changes to the game, the 4-point mark, which I
don't know. The 4-point mark is...
We broke some records with it.
We did.
We're gonna have to asterisk this year in the rule books. I think I only think that's fair. You can't be
They're- like we've reached a point of talent where people can hit a 4-point, like Steph Curry,
Yeah.
Dame Lillard in the NBA. There's a bunch of people in the NBA.
It
who
seems
can
like
hit
it was a
4-point
gimmick
shot.
designed for Caitlin Clark because that's like her range.
Her, Sabrina, Paige can all hit a 4-point shot. A few others were capable.
Everyone was giving it a go last night.
Yeah, well, I mean, why not? You're here for some fun.
Which is how we ended up with a final of 151 to 131.
I will say, not an ideal basketball score, but still better than the NBA All-Star game where we're scoring in the 200s. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. There were some very funny attempts at defense moments and like a couple of actual like foul where like they called fouls. They had a system where they weren't even like making them do the free throws until the end of the game.
The rule was they're not shooting any free throws up until the last 2 minutes, which is really only if it mattered for the most part ish.
Yeah.
In the last 2 minutes of the game, not even of the quarter, you were going to shoot the free throw shots. Otherwise, you get awarded the points, and then the ball goes to
You just
the
keep
other
playing.
team. Yeah, it's just live, fast-paced play. How did you like sort of this rendition of basketball? Because the way they set it up is almost very similar to how a hockey game set up. They were doing some level.
Well,
of
it was a little bit more like lacrosse style changes where they were having the central like bench area where they already stand for subbing anyway.
Yep.
As the kind of active trade in and trade out as the transition happens.
I didn't even think about. I think so. I don't think about lacrosse enough quite yet. But now that
I've been watching a lot of it.
Now that you've consumed enough of it, it is basically a lacrosse sub that they were doing.
I mean, I like it for flow. Like if you're going for let's get this game done a little more quickly and with some pace, I think that's a good way of doing it. And it's I didn't have a long basketball career, only a couple of years, but I was never a fan of being on the bench for very long. I much preferred being in the game. So that it's. If I were a bench player, I'd enjoy that system more.
I mean, it would be, you could use it for a huge like advantage.
Yeah.
Like you're not subbing off a whole, well, it would almost be it would be a whole hockey line. You're not taking everyone off the court. That's impossible.
It's a little,
but there's a strategic advantage on both sides. Like when they're doing a hockey sub, we can go press and trap and whatnot, maybe not allow them to do so, but also if you're allowed to do hockey subs, you can switch out for the right personnel or talk about just a quick
transition becomes a lot more dangerous when you catch offensive specialists who can't swap out for their defensive specialist.
Yeah, I didn't even think about, because
that's a lacrosse thing that happens a lot.
Some people in the NBA cannot play defense. I'm sorry, but it's not what they paid. They're not paid to do that. They are paid to be out there getting buckets.
Exactly. Our MVP of the game was Nafisa, I believe.
What a shock, let me tell you.
She's been hot this year. What can we say? She broke the record.
35 is, I think, what she came away with.
I want to say 35 was Enrique's old one, and it was 36 for her tonight, or last night.
It was either 35 or 37. I knew it was like an odd
It's
number.
in that mid-30s range for sure. Another, she's in the zone this year. What can you say? I think I saw a poll from The Athletic about, they did an anonymous poll of the players, and Nafisa is now, by a pretty good margin, considered the best player in the league, with like Aja right behind.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I think they are different players. Nafisa, I'm not going to take anything away from her. She's a great player. I don't think she has the same defensive capability that Aja does, just because she is, from a size perspective, she's what they would call it, what the WNBA has sort of termed a tweener. Mm-hmm. She's not big enough to play in that 4 spot that she is playing in, but she's not quick enough to be like a 3 or a 2. Mm-hmm. So she's sort of in between those positions, which Aja is, she's a clear 5. She's one of the bigger people out there, usually on the floor, so it gives you a good defense advantage. She can dribble the ball, she can shoot the ball, she can kind of do it all. That's the only reason I would pick Aja over Nafisa for that. But to each their own.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so a very fun All-Star weekend for the W. Sabrina won another 3-point contest in the skills side of things the night before. Surprise, surprise. I'm going
to give it another year or two, because we know what Sabrina can shoot. Caitlin Clark didn't get to participate in this one, unfortunately.
Yep.
Paige, I'm assuming, will be there, who can also shoot the ball.
I knew about Sonia Citron because she was also participating this year.
Yeah, Sonia is a sniper. So,
any other basketball news we need to cover this week?
Just a couple of WNBA things that really matter. We had a cool little matchup very early on in the weekend last Sunday. In fact, we got to see Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers play against each other. So that's sort of just a look at the wave of the future. This one, unfortunately, did not go in the way of Paige Beckers because that Dallas team is, like we talked about, they're still up and coming and growing. I'm going to assume they're going to take the Indiana route and go heavy in this offseason and sort of surround Paige Becker because she's shown and proven that she's a pretty good commodity out there. And some veterans take offense to her because she's not going to shy away from anyone and will bark at everyone. It's just sort of the way she is. And some people like it, some people don't. But yeah, that game ended up 102-83 for Caitlin Clark before she went down. The Liberty have been on a roll sort of all week long. For the last 3 games.
Looking like they're back in their championship form.
They have been. They beat the Dream 79-72. And they won the other game that they played earlier in the week. The games that really mattered for the most part, the Chicago Sky did unfortunately lose to the Link after they were on such a big roll. The Link got their get back 91-78 on Monday. Nafisa, as we talked about, she had 29 and she shot 50% from the floor. So,
again, just rolling hot this week.
Yeah. She also had Kayla McBride and Courtney Williams. Courtney Williams was there at the All-Star game with her, giving her 17 and 18 right behind her. Angel Reese did end up having a double-double, but she was kind of the only one playing out there for the Sky for the most part. She did end up getting injured or sick. I can't remember which it was, and did not play in the next game, and we won't talk about that one.
Okay.
That one's going to go in the garbage. But the cool, interesting one that happened was San Francisco, the Valkyrie dropped to the Mercury 78-77. That one was a shootout. Mercury, they were basically trading blows back and forth. The Valkyrie did have the lead going into halftime, but ended up losing it in that second half, unfortunately. So sort of is what it is there. But Vegas ended up winning the next day, which means Vegas slides into that 8th spot, and Valkyrie are right now out of playoff position. With Vegas's win, Vegas did end up beating Dallas and Beckers to do so. Audra Wilson showing that she can still do it. 37-10, kind of putting a whooping on Dallas there, unfortunately. Dallas did give a good effort for the most part. They were down, I think, 2 going into half and had a rough third quarter and were fighting their little hearts out in the fourth. They ended up having 34 in the fourth in total, but not quite enough to get back at Asia and her squad.
I mean, yeah, that's a little David and Goliath-y kind of matchup there.
Yeah, I would say so. Good for Vegas. So they, like I said, like we talked about, don't know who's going to end up sliding in and out of those spots. That 7 and 8 spot are really up for anybody right now. I would expect Vegas. I can't imagine a playoff without Vegas. I assume they're going to fight back. They've had the issues of Aja being sort of in and out, but I think they've got things figured out now. And if they get things right, I think they could slide in a little bit higher, especially with the back half of the season to go here. On the NBA side, everything was very quiet. The only news that was noteworthy for the most part is one, Valanciunas is going to stay here in Denver. I think everyone was super excited about that.
Yeah, there was another one of those things that immediately after we finished recording last week, we got some more news on that topic.
Yeah, and the Dallas Mavericks ended up shooting Cooper Flag down. Basically, he got to play a couple games. They're like, all right, good enough.
Yep, he can still ball. Turn it off. Keep him safe. Wrap him in plastic wrap.
Pretty much. That is it. So interesting to see that. Usually you see your rookies play all the way through or a little bit
I saw
more.
A few other first round draft picks get shut down that same week later on.
Yeah. So can't. Now that we know the dangers out there, safer than sorry for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
That is it from the basketball side. Like we already talked about, the CBA is on everyone's sort of mind right now, probably more than anything, especially after the All-Star game. So I am definitely excited to see how they do that.
Yeah, absolutely. They seem not very close in negotiations at the moment, but it's the league that suffers the most by it taking longer. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll see how that develops.